Hi for the Brandon Bonanza podcast.
Bonanza, we're hanging out. It's the Brandon Bonanza show. Bonanza, we're hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show. Hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show.
Yeah, that's right. What's up, everybody? Yeah, that
We're
voice.
hanging out on the Brandon Bonanza show. Bonanza, we're hanging out. It's the Brandon Bonanza show. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What's going
Two
on,
times.
everybody? Back
Two
today
times
with
the fun.
Yeah, he did it live. Do it live. What's up, everybody? We have an impromptu stream. We had this planned. We were gonna go live on Quinton's Facebook channel, and then I was gonna rebroadcast through my YouTube. But we found out today that the lovely website known as facebook.com, if you've ever heard of it, there's a feature where you can't go live from a computer, only from an app on a phone or an iPad or something. So we just decided we'll do it here and go, and then we'll get that next time. We'll get it set up for the simulcast when I could. You guys get it. But anyway, I'm excited because I'm back today with our friend Quinton, and I do have a quote. I'm recycling a quote because, again, I thought this was just a restream, so I'm going to recycle a quote, but this is a good one. I played this. We used this on one of our propaganda episodes. Check those out in the Brandon Bonanza playlist. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. And that's by Carl Jung, if you will, or however you want to pronounce that. Lovely quote. It's kind of how I feel like if you would look at this existence that we live as like a video game. I'm not saying we're like in a simulation or whatever, but if you were to use that example, you could really go do anything you want. It's like Grand Theft Auto, right? You could do the missions if you want, but you could just drive a motorcycle all over, wherever, California all day or whatever, when you play, and you could just do that and smack hookers. So it's just like life, right? Drive around and smack hookers, but you're not going to get anything accomplished or done, right? So I feel like we're here to kind of just, I like that, kindle the light in the darkness. And speaking of lights and darkness, my guest today is a big kindler of lights, and I'm excited to have him today. So what's up, Quentin? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. And I always have fun, man. I was looking forward to bringing you into my world a little bit more, but it's all good, man. I'm excited either way, and you know, um, hopefully, I'm wanting to get my own thing going, and kind of mess around, and I don't know, but I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's I think that we could probably broadcast it on your YouTube through my Zoom, because you have to have a paid account, and I use it for work too, for my wedding DJ thing that I do. So when I meet with people, it's on Zoom. So I justify it. Plus I have the wonderful Oversharing show. We use it that. But what I could do is, if you set up the live, and then I could just grab the info from that and put it into this. And so what we could do is send this meeting to your Facebook. I wonder if we could send them to both. That'd be interesting. But even if just it was your Facebook, that'd be cool. Or you could just get Zoom or StreamYard. I think it's like $14 a month or something. But yeah, I mean, you know, I
I'll figure it out eventually, So
yeah, you got
I'm
a
not
mic and everything
yeah,
all in time.
yeah, all in time, all in good time. So hey, I just figure out, I've figured out sometimes, going the long way around is the right way to go. Sometimes, and like, things that are harder to figure out sometimes are worth the challenge.
100%. Oh, what's up, Mr. Nargis? What's up, Quiet Sparky Bear? Got some people in the chat. Yeah, and
All right.
I agree. I just been trying to live my life that way. Great examples. Friday, I went to a concert last Friday. I went to a Monomarth. Do you know how that is?
Uh-uh. I've never
Amon
heard of that.
Amon Amarth. They're a Viking
Oh,
heavy metal
yeah.
band.
Oh, the band. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
awesome.
they are, and they were doing a show here at this venue. It's not a giant venue, but it's a pretty big size. And I thought I had connections at this venue like we used to. I've done comedy and stuff there, you know. So I hit my friend up, and he doesn't. The guy he knew or we knew, I guess, doesn't isn't there anymore. Well, I don't know. So we couldn't get tickets that way. And Elizabeth, my lovely fiance, really wanted to go, so she was going to buy tickets. And there's this service if you're a veteran. It's called VETTix, VETTIX, and you could get free tickets to shows. And so I told her, I'm like, maybe it'll pop up on there. So we waited till Thursday morning, and it popped up. So we got two free tickets. And there's three other bands. There's like Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, some other band, and we were like, maybe if I was younger, not saying that they're bad bands, but they're, Cannibal Corpse. He sounds like Cookie Monster, and he was like, Cookie. He's great though. They're great. But we're like, we'll get there a little late. So she was getting ready. It's like almost an 45-minute drive, and she's like, I don't know if we're gonna get there in time or whatever. I'm like, just take your time. We'll leave. No stress. And that's what we did. And we showed up. We got free parking because they weren't charging for parking anymore, right up front, like a VIP spot that someone had left. And we just walked right in, and they started right when we got there. It was crazy. We got to our section. It was a perfect view. There was really nobody around us, even though the place was packed. So I think it's like when you just trust the plan, trust God's plan, and you don't have any fear, things just work out for you. It's crazy. And this is something we could talk about further too, not the concert, but this idea of like synchronicities, because I feel like these past couple weeks, ever since the eclipse that happened on April 8th, it's been like really crazy with the synchronicities, things that I'm seeing. I'm also seeing some people, like my uncle got sicker and he's not really doing well. I'm seeing other people kind of spiraling. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like some people are just like really losing it, and mainstream, I don't even pay attention. I could just imagine. So I'm wondering if that's what it has to do with. And some of the synchronicities are just insane. Like I said, what was I was talking, Elizabeth and I were driving to go hiking, and I said something about two dogs. I can't remember the story. And she's like, "Did you see those two dogs?" As I said it, a car drove by with two dogs in it. It's just these crazy little things that if you told people, they would be like, "Oh, that's," but as they add up, it's nuts. And my final crazy, I mean, I'm sure I'll come up with a little more, but I went to go play poker yesterday at the lovely Foxwoods Resort and Casino in Mashantucket, or in Ledyard, Connecticut. And I went to play a poker tournament, which is different than a cash game. If you go to a casino tournament, basically you pay like $100 or whatever, 140. They give you like 20,000 in chips that have no cash value, just value in the tournament, and everybody plays. There was like almost 100 people or whatever. You play down. When you get knocked out, you're out. Or if you stay in, then you play down to like they pay 15 spots or something, right? So you get money that way. So I played for a few hours, and I got knocked out before I got paid. It was early. So I was going to leave. So you know what? I have some time. Let me go play a cash game. Now, cash game's different. They have a different level. So 1, 2, the limit is what I play usually, which is the blinds are 1 and 2. It goes around, you put in $2, but it's no limit. So it starts at 2, but it goes to like 10, 15, 100, like it gets wild. I think you can buy it for up to $300. And so anyway, I was sitting at that table, and there you can get up and leave whenever you want. There's no like rules for the tournament, but they have these side like things that they offer, spiffs or bonuses or whatever. And one of them is a high hand. So every hour for the entire poker room, whoever has the highest poker hand in a hand like that got showdown. So if you get like 4 of a kind, it's like really hard to get, and that is usually what wins. But the highest hand in poker is a straight flush, which means you get a straight. So you have 5 cards in a row, like 10, Jack, King, Queen, Ace, and then they're all the same suit. And if you have 10, Jack, King, Queen, Ace of the same suit, it's considered a royal flush, which is the highest hand. and I got a royal flush yesterday. So I got a bonus. It was like $500 or something. It was crazy, but it's nuts because even the guy that was there came over and he's like, everyone at this table except for you, like all these old guys that are here, they're here every day. They play all the time. He's like, and you come in here one day and you just hit it. And I'm like, that's me. But I feel like it's another nod to the universe to kind of not worry. It's like, oh, you got knocked out, but here's some extra money. So I tipped the dealer and I was excited about that. So it's nice to
Right.
just kind of go along with the flow. I feel like we get tripped up in life when we're too worried about what's going to happen and we constantly try to analyze things. And maybe this is just myself, but I'm sure a lot of people like this. So we analyze what we are about to do or what we have done, and we're like, oh no, did I did it? Do I do it wrong? What should I have done this? And I think when you're looking at the past or the future, any little bit of analyzing is a good thing if you want to plan, or if, for the future, or if you want to learn from the past. But what happens, and I know this still can happen to me sometimes, but it used to happen a lot more, is where I would just get like frozen and not do anything because I'd be so worried about the future or the past. And these are just a couple of examples where I just kind of went with the flow and it worked out perfectly. I wasn't worried. I wasn't like on the way to the casino. I wasn't like trying to blow red lights to get there. I was a little late, but in tournaments, you could buy in. You don't have to be there right on time. You could buy in for like the first hour or 2 hours or something. So I'm just scooting along. And I feel like I've been trying to just go through life that way. Things pop up and happen, and I try to just not freak out and have fear and just deal with them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like it's what they call like a free flow. Like um, and to get there, I mean, like I used to have that. Because I my background is a musician. As a drummer. Um, you just kind of wing it. Like I would just like maybe be in a band that I've never uh or like you like go to these. I would go to like a blues event and they would need a drummer, and but they were just doing blues, so you just you didn't know the song, but you just free flowed through it, and that's kind of what we do in life. I think we take the knowledge that we have and then you do something with it.
Yeah, 100%. It kind of just like going with the flow. We've been talking about let's see. It doesn't happen when Quinton is talking, just when you start talking. Oh, they're hearing one of you sounds like you're underwater. There's a digital underwater sound happening in the background. Oh yeah, I hear that. Do you have
Is it me? It's been me like the last time they were the
okay.
audio. Can you hear
Yeah,
me better now? It might be where I have my phone on the table. Like
oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. I don't
I need to get a good phone stand.
yeah, yeah. No, that sounds better. No, I can hear it a little bit. I think you're just moving it. I'll wait till you stop and then we'll usually
Um,
Zoom's really good with blocking this stuff out.
let's see.
I'll take this
Um,
time to do a commercial. Go to morelawsmoreproblems.com to find out more about Brandon Bonanza and check out my website that I've had for 11 years now. Oh, that sounds better. Would you do something? No, there it is. Is there wind or anything?
no, I don't know what it is, but as long as you can hear me, all right.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too bad. Oh,
Awesome.
maybe it's an echo of my voice. Oh, hang on. Yeah, because when I talk, I feel like it happens right after I talk. Do you have earbuds or headphones?
Uh, yeah, I've got some of these dudes.
Yeah, see if you could get the sound to go through there. Because I feel, yeah, it goes away when Quentin's talking. I think it's an echo of my voice. Because after I talk, I hear it every time. What's up, MS? What's going on? Thanks for joining, everybody. We're just getting the technical things ironed out, but we're talking about, just going with the flow and all these changes that have been going on and these crazy synchronicities that have been happening since since the eclipse, I would think. Or maybe it's just because the eclipse is such an event that everyone's looking for. I'm thinking that, but I really feel like you are talking and the sound is gone. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I can't hear Quinton though. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
There he is. I can hear you now.
See, I can hear you, or like doing the headphones at work. I can hear you very clear.
Perfect. All right.
But the problem is, you can't hear me.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The sound went away though.
Can you hear me, Chuck?
Yeah, I can hear you and the sound went away. Nice. Yeah,
Nice. Well,
Mr. Nargis even said sounds much better. Awesome. All right. Well, we figured that out. Whatever. There was a ghost in the machine. How dare it was he was trying to
damn it.
yeah, but so I don't, what do you guys think in the chat? Have you guys been noticing this? I think it's probably something I'm going to talk about. I might even bring it up and over Sharon this week to see what Sharon's opinion is of this. But it feels like maybe it's just something, we're going through it. I don't know, but it feels like there's like this extra magic to this realm lately. It's really crazy.
Did you see the lights? Did you see the northern lights or whatever that everybody was talking
about? I didn't, because I don't pay enough attention to social media and stuff. So I saw after, and I think it was cloudy here anyway, but I know Elizabeth and I both were like, oh no, we missed it. We didn't realize. I think I was working that night or something. And she was can't remember. I think she was in here cleaning or something or doing something. She was like rearranging and cleaning out her closet. So she and I came home, we both missed it. It's funny though, because I was driving home. You think I would have saw it? I don't know. Maybe I just missed it or it was cloudy. But I saw the pictures. They were awesome. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Dead hair Gonzo.
Yeah, I looked and I couldn't see it, but from the pictures it looked cool. But I mean, like, yeah, that's it's kind of wild that you brought that up, because I was going to ask you, like, I kind of wanted to make this, about just kind of a chill, like talking about like who's your favorite band type deal, and like when you brought up that Viking band, I was like, oh yeah, so that's kind of like you kind of like into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
And like Slayer, you like Slayer and stuff like that?
Yeah, I used to listen to Slayer a lot, and it's funny because it really, because I went to the Marine Corps and I found out that being a fan of heavy metal really helps. Because all the stuff that you go through in boot camp and basic training, like if you have those songs in the back of your head, like Sepultura, Sepultura, Max Cavalera's first band. Then they did Soulfly and I forget what else, but that's some other stuff that just really gets you through. I mean, it's amazing stuff. What about have you ever seen any of those guys live?
No, I mean, I played a lot of music, so I was playing a lot of shows myself. But I did see, like, I saw more of like I didn't get to see very many metal bands like that, but I did see like some arena bands. Like I seen Def Leppard and yeah, Def Leppard. Yeah, I seen them in Louisville, and I seen some like old '80s bands like Foreigner, and I've seen Blackstone Cherry. So these aren't like metal, like intense metal bands or anything, but I mean it was cool. But I was younger, and at that time I wasn't allowed to. Nobody's gonna let me go to see those other shows.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Little Quentin wants to get to see Slayer. He's gonna get killed.
Yeah, exactly. but I enjoyed it from like the comfort of my home. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm really metal.
Yeah.
I'm a metalhead. But yeah, I love that stuff. Like and the drummer, man. I like the drummer for Slayer was what really got me like because I'm a drummer, so I mainly focus in on like the music part.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine how that could be inspiring. They were crazy how fast they are.
yeah, and like I really like the Lamb of God's drummer too. Like how you kind of look like the Lamb of God's drummer a little bit.
I kind of look like a lot. It's funny. I have this look where if I go to shows, sometimes I went to Toad's Place in New Haven, which is like a very popular venue. It's been around since like the 60s. It's a small, well, it's not a small club, but it's a club and they do smaller shows there. I went to see Thievery Corporation there, who you can't even say what genre they are. They play so many different music. They had like six different singers that kept coming out. Like, what's going on? Because I wasn't that familiar with them, but they were great. And why was I bringing up Toad's Place? I can't remember. Oh, okay. So I was walking around. That's right. It's a club show. And before the show started, because it was just them, there's no opening act. People were standing around and I'm walking and everyone's just like kind of looking at me or like out of the corner of my eye because I definitely look like I could be some kind of rock star or famous. I have that look because I'm 6'5". Also, for people who don't know, I have this crazy hair. I have my beautiful fiance with me. People are just like, who is that guy? Like, is that somebody? It's so funny. Um, so yeah, I get that a lot. Some guy in Florida came up to me. I was there in 2022 I went on this whole trip around like the US, but I stopped in Florida. My friends live there and I was there for like a week or so. And I forgot where we were, somewhere near Daytona. This guy came up to me and he's like, you look like Dave Grohl, or was it Dave Grohl? Right. Yeah, I was thinking Nick Kroll. Yeah. Grohl, whatever the guy from. He's like, you look
Yeah.
like that guy. And I'm like, what? It was so funny. I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying this is what people, they just come up to me. So maybe I should do a prank where, you ever see that movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah.
It's an 80s movie. They go to register because he's going back to college. He's this old guy. He's a business genius. And he's like, I never went to school. So he's going back to school. But anyway, they get there and they're registering for classes and it's so busy. So because he's rich and he has a limo, he has the limo driver stand outside with a sign that says like Bruce Springsteen or something. So everybody runs outside. So we should totally get a limo and park it somewhere and just have somebody with a sign and I'll get out and I'll like sunglasses. I'll like, yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh
That
yeah, dude, for sure.
do like a prank.
I'm gonna have to watch that again. Yeah, I love that. I love he's the one that's like uh what's his saying? Uh Something about like um what was his big catchphrase? I forget. Um
Who was it? Sorry, I was looking at the chat. I missed your like what word you said. Who are you talking about?
uh, Dangerfield. What was his? Something about
Oh, I
like
get no respect.
I get no respect. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get no respect. Yeah. He's a good example of a guy. He didn't start until his like 50s. He didn't become famous or start doing comedy. He was like homeless or something. So goes the story. Never give up. But anyway,
Hey, that's awesome, man. Yeah, he. I love see like where I started playing music and stuff in my hometown. Um, I mean, I've won Battle of the Bands, um, like twice, I think, and then I've played all pretty much every show around here, and then um, uh, I've opened for like at the Master Musicians Festival, and it's like I get to the point where like I've done everything musically, but then I when I started seeing podcasts and stuff like that, It's like I want to do something else, you know, like I want to it keeps me adventurous, like things I haven't pursued before. And like um you know, like my strong point is music, you know. But like I like hearing from other people, like, you know, like I love how you do comedy, and like I like hearing people, like that's why I've gotten into, like, you know, um it's really like, not only it just so happens that, you know, at the same time I seen like flat earth and all that stuff, like somehow I really do believe that it was like a divine uh thing that I found, like Owen Benjamin and people like that, and it kind of led me into, you know, finding you and like the Barataria times, and it was, and like I, you know, no matter what, like I'll always respect Owen for that, because like he did bring that community to where everybody can kind of, you know, have that free flow, you know, and like, and I like comedians like I've been watching a lot of that. What's his name? The Rat King. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I can't
Theo.
remember his name either.
Theo. I
What's
like
that?
Theo.
Yeah, Theo
Theo.
Vaughn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the funny thing with me. So I am a comedian. I've like I did comedy for about 7 years, and then since 2020, I've been on stage a few times. But I do this, and I try to be funny in other ways. And I want to get back on stage one of these nights. But I don't watch a lot of stand up now because I did doing that stand up for 7 years. When you're doing stand up, especially in the beginning, most of it is just going to open mics and you just see other comedians. So I saw so many other comedians that I was like, all right, once in a while I'd watch some comedy, but people would be like, oh, you want to watch stand up? And I'm like, not really. It's funny. But I like the you were saying about Owen Benjamin. It's so true. The community that came together. And I'll always be thankful for him too, because that's obviously how I met you, how I met Sharon. Like half the people in the chat I met that way. Joe, Joker's Redemption, we met through him, and then I met Jeff through him, through Joe. And I just myself, I really haven't been watching, but it has a lot more to do with like the world, because I haven't been paying attention to like anything. Like I didn't even know about the Northern Lights, like I'm just in my own little bubble right now. So for me, I kind of just stopped watching, but I still talk to people I didn't know through the Bears and hang out, and I still follow Owen on Instagram, and I'll see what he's up to and stuff. I, I a lot of people like take hard stands one way or another, and I totally get that. But I'm the capybara, and that's what I like to bring up because I always looked at Owen as, some people look at him, and you could obviously look at him however you want. I'm not judging it, but some people are like, oh, he's this great comedian. He's this light in the darkness of all this stuff. But always in the back of my mind, especially because I was doing comedy for whatever, I kind of looked at him like another comedian. And obviously he's like, he was famous and had a lot of success. And I'm just this guy who's like doing comedy in Connecticut or whatever. So I'm not saying we're like on the same level, but I just had that's one of them. And then the other thing too is I feel like a lot of people who are geniuses and are really smart in certain areas can also be a little crazy, and I'm not like sitting here saying, oh, Owen's crazy or whatever. I'm saying that about myself too. I understand that there's like a little bit of crazy in people who are very talented. I think,
Yeah.
sometimes there's more crazy than not. And I think the problem comes in when you're looking at somebody and he's like a person that you're worshiping or whatever. You know what I mean? I had a better way to say all this, but it's the morning. I'm trying to get my thoughts together.
Well, it's the same way with everything, like musicians, and like you
Yeah.
see these people, you know, you look at like people like, you know, Led Zeppelin and stuff. Like at the end of the day, you know, you know, they're the same. There's people just like everybody is like a person, you know, and it's like nobody's better than anybody else. It's just where you know, and the people who think they are, um, really live a lonely life because nobody wants to be around. Like, I mean, like you see like the big stage and you see all these people around them, but at the end of the day, they all go home and they sleep in a bed just like everybody else. And like, I mean, you know, I mean, not to say that I'm sure they have a crazy life, but like that's probably one of the things that got me out of being a musician because I was always about the music and like the whole rock star thing was never really glamorous to me. Like I like to be a normal person. I like to I don't like to have like drunk people passed out around me like all you know what I'm saying? Like the rock
I
star
know.
life. Yeah, I just like to go home and like, get away from the noise and like get a good night's sleep and then like play music when I want to, not because I have to or not because my not because I'm getting a big paycheck or anything like that. And I think that's a big thing about Owen. Like I think he's been like in that rock star type life, but he sees that too. Like he wanted to get away from all that and get a farm and like it's good to break away from all that because you have to find your own identity.
Yeah, 100%. I like that you said that thing about rock stars because that's so true. This will even help what I was trying to say earlier. Well, what I was saying was throughout my life, I've met a lot of famous people just in maybe it's just the way synchronicities work. And I got to hang out with Tommy Lee, from Motley Crue for a night. I got to drive him around. I've talked about this before, but he was coming to perform at a club that I worked at. So I was elected to go pick him up, him and his manager and his friend. And I got to drive him to a hotel and drive him around and hang out with him. And it was the same way. I was just like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" Like I got to the airport to where they were, and he's standing outside smoking a cigarette, like when nobody's around. I walked up and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Tommy? I'm here to pick you up. How's it going?" Some other guy, and I'm just hanging out with him like he's a regular person. And yeah, same thing about with people that are content creators, like Owen Benjamin or even Archaics or all these big names. People fight, they want to choose sides, but I think what a lot of people forget is just like what you said. He's just a dude. Like Owen Benjamin's just a guy at the end of the day. He makes mistakes. He does, you know what I mean? All these things, just like everybody else. He has, things that he worries about, and just like anybody else would have, right? But the thing about his life is it's broadcasted in front of a lot of other people, and I feel like the whole thing with like taking sides and fighting and all this stuff is really where we go wrong because all the people that have ever liked Owen or are in these circles, we have so much in common as far as being against the normal system or society, right? And then it's just these little things that we pick. Like some people would get mad because of the Trinity or, bidets. That was a fun one, or whatever it is. And then some people take a hard stance. And I understand, if you get so invested in a person, and it is like a community, that's exactly what it is. It's a community. And sometimes people uh forget, it's like they have an online life, it's like a different identity from their in person. Because I feel like if this was all in person, it would be much different. And that's why I'm glad that Owen did that thing with the Bears and making it in person, because even though I might not watch him right now all the time or whatever, or like other people I know, I even have friends that obviously have friends that don't like him at all, and I have friends that love him, but I'm able to exist in the middle because I met all these people in real life. So
Yeah.
even if they see that I'm not watching Owen or whatever, it's not like I'm over here talking shit. I don't like to talk shit about people because everyone's got their own journey, man. I have no idea what the heck anyone's going through. And
Well,
with the just one last thing I'll say real quick, but the thing with the synchronicities that I was saying earlier, all these crazy occurrences that happen, I saw a lot of those in the bear community, still seeing things like that. So what people have to remember is they're looking at Owen or this whole thing from this glasses of like reality. Like we know this is a physical place and all these things that are happening. So when something happens with Owen, people will be like, oh, some people will be like, he's a grifter because of this, or some people will be like, oh no, he's this because of that. But what they don't realize, and maybe this is also because I've been watching a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm gonna tie this all together, everybody. I promise. But you get to see all these things that happen either behind the scenes or just these synchronicities that happen that would make it look like he's either a grifter or a great or person or however you want to interpret it. But we don't realize it's just God, right? This is all just God playing this all out. It's all part of his plan. And that's why I don't really get mad or upset or try to fight with people because of it. I think like life is too short, and I have nothing but like I for all these people, I'm like, I hope they do really well. I don't want to see them fail or get hurt or get in trouble. And that's another thing. Like people get arrested or in trouble, or like when Owen got swatted, people are like celebrating. It's like, no, this is real life. These are people's lives. You're just clicking onto a computer and watching it for a couple hours a day, and you want to try to like get your own fame or whatever. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but yeah, that's kind of how I look at it.
I get what you're saying, man. Yeah, and it's like to me, like some of these, like I think some of it's just part of him being a comedian, and some of it's like you know, and that's cool. I'm enjoying watching it, man. And I like his messages. Like I watched one the other day about you know how a lot of Christians nowadays they preach more doom and gloom than the good news. You know what I mean? And I really
Yeah.
relate to that. I really relate to that because, like, as a Christian, like, I really feel like you shouldn't be all like the world's going to end. Like, I mean, you shouldn't like live your life like that. And if you do, you're creating that in your head. And like, if you got that mindset, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in get if the world's going to end? Like, what's the point in getting up the next day? But like,
Exactly.
but like, I mean, I don't want to live my life like that. And but yeah, like what you were saying, man, like watching like this stuff. To me, it's like watching wrestling. Like I mean, I know I do like I compare wrestling a lot. Sometimes because I do like watching it. Like, but I remember like when Owen had Boomer Month or whatever, and
Yeah.
it really cracked me up, man, because like it reminded me of my grandpa. Like I love my grandpa and everything. But it cracks me up because I remember like he was all about the moon landing and all that stuff, and I was like. I was like, I don't care. I want to watch wrestling, and he's like, wrestling's fake. And now I'm thinking back, like, oh yeah, the moon landing was so real. you know, you know what I mean? Like it's comical to me, now. But like
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, turn that fake wrestling off. I want to watch the real moon landing.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I mean, I would venture to say that anything you see on a TV screen is probably fake. The news, they'll play these things that happen, but I've been to places. I mean, I have a video from 2020 where there was a protest going on in Australia, anti-mask protest or whatever, and the cops arrested this guy and they took his kids away from him. Like, and a lady that I know was right there. Kaylee, who I've done stuff with, she was there. She was friends with the mother of the guy who they tackled and took the kids. And he was just like walking away. It was Mother's Day. So he was letting because the lady wanted to protest. So he's like, all right, I'll let you do your thing. I'll watch the kids. He was at the park. He came across the street to say hi, walked back over, and they took his kids. They tackled him. It was all in the video, whatever. It was all in the news. And later, we have video of them just letting the guy go. And the reporter says to the cops, that's great. That's exactly the shot they wanted. So they didn't charge the guy or nothing. They just threw him on the ground, in a truck, let him go a few minutes later when the crowd dispersed. So it's like, wait, did that really happen then? Yeah, the guy got tackled, but if people are going to think that, oh no, if I go to these protests, I could get tackled and my kids could be taken away. other people are going to be filled with rage because they grab the kids, and they're going to now everyone's whole day that saw that is going to be changed, because of something that was kind of fake. And the whole thing with like Owen or any of these content creators is that we have to remember, the internet's huge and there are a lot of crazy people out there. So they will, like the trolls and all this stuff, they are gonna try to start shit, and they are gonna, like, I see it happening sometimes in chat to get somebody to come in there and they'll just ask questions, and you can see that they're just trying to create a conflict. It's like, why can't I just be somebody who listens to all these different people, right? I'll listen to whoever, and then I make my own decision about what I like. And when I want entertainment and want to laugh, definitely put on Owen. It's hilarious. But I feel
Yeah,
like
it's like
when
yeah.
you
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like when you start to kind of worship somebody or idolize them, that's why that's one of the commandments. You shouldn't idolize, because you're not really doing them a favor. You're not looking at them like a human anymore. You're looking at them like they're some superhuman. And that also can create a lot of anxiety for that person, because then they don't want to let everybody down. It's this whole thing that happens. And I feel like you can even say that's really what happened with the Christian religion. People started to idolize Jesus Christ instead of his message. Like they try to pray to him instead of just live the golden rule, which is basically what he was telling you to do, right? It's the secret to all this. So I feel like that's what happens, and it gets messed up. But the other people like us, we're like the capybaras. We could see both sides, and why should we be ridiculed? Because, and I'm not saying I get ridiculed or whatever. I'm just saying, why should people like us get ridiculed just because we like, well, I still like that guy. Like, Owen's still a person. I don't want anything bad to happen. Just because I'm not watching his show right now every day doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, I want him to fail and all these things.
Right, right. It's kind of like why I wanted to have this, like I like to have I mean, there's a time and place for everything. Like I think there's a time and place to talk about, flat Earth, but then there's people that don't want to hear about that all the time, and it's like also I don't really want to hang out with somebody that's all we talk about. It's like I like to talk about music. I like to talk about what are you into, or what it's not all about me, all the time. And like that's a good thing to have other people to contact and to communicate with. And yeah, man, it's like I don't really like. Not everybody has to believe that you know my way, all the
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? And also like what you were saying about like kind of unplugging from everything. I think that's necessary, man, because like I remember, like I would like sometimes I just have to go into my own world. Like even like being around so many people with so many different beliefs and so many different ideas. Sometimes you got to close out and like figure out what you believe. What is your, go out in the woods and like just breathe the air and just like, figure it out. You know what I mean? Because you get all this. It's almost like it gets so uh like you get all when you got the TV going, you're getting so many messages like just sent to you like this is what you need. This is what oh you want to buy this, there's and it's like just chill out. I'm gonna go eat some food. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm gonna
What are you
go walk
trying to
my
sell
dog.
me now?
What's that?
I was like, what are you trying to sell me now? Television,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, television.
Yeah, and the internet isn't much any better now because it's funny how everything starts out so great. Like the internet, how amazing was it when it first started? The worst you had to worry about were like pop-up ads or whatever. Now you get ads. Remember Facebook and Instagram? They never had ads. There was never ads on any of these places. And now you scroll through there and you just get there's even accounts that it looks like it's an account that you follow and you're like, oh, what's that? That's cool. And then you might click on it and then you realize it's an advertisement, and now you get advertisements for whatever it was. You get them for like ever now. Now you're just like you're always seeing whatever it is. And it's not like I'm bitching or whatever. It's It's just how things change. But for me, it really reminds me to be grateful for what I have now and what I like how it is the way it is because everything changes. You know, a lot of people like when I hang out with my parents, it's like, oh, this place got ripped down. This place isn't there anymore. Remember that place? You know, it's like they're kind of uh, thinking about living on the past and all this stuff. It's like, well, the way out of that and the way to not be so sad about everything that's changing is to be grateful for, I think, what we have now and to enjoy it while we have it because everything changes. You know, I mean, you never know where you're going to end up, right? I'm just kind of ranting right now, but I like what you said, and you're right. When you hang out with people and they just have a one-track mind and they're talking about just one thing, it's like get out, experience things. It's a wonderful world. Go into the woods. It doesn't matter if they fake the moon landing or if we're not really on a globe that much. If you're inside going crazy, right? If you're because you might even you could argue that it's better to just be an ignorant person that doesn't know any of this, but you're just living a good life. You know, you're trying to live in accordance with the golden rule and you're just going along. You'd probably be better than to be a truther who sees all the stuff in the world and feels like a victim. Nobody will listen to you and you're arguing with everybody and you just get ostracized. And then you find a community of people online that agree with you, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's bad, but if that's your only human interaction, you're really closing yourself off from so many other people. And I'll tell you, if you hang out with a group of people, only that group of people exclusively that feels the same way about everything, and you're never really going to challenge your own beliefs because just because me and you believe something doesn't mean it's right, you know, even though it could be closer to the truth than other people have, you know, like the moon landing and all this stuff. We have a better idea, maybe probably what happened, but we could also be wrong about something. And if we're only around people who are constantly validating our point of view and they're like, yeah, you're right, we're right, we know this, and you're never going to question it. And those are the times when I've had a conversation with people where I've listened to people that I didn't agree with, and I'm like, maybe they have a point here, and then I start to look into it. Those are the times where I change my mind. I'm like, oh wow, this person's right. You know, maybe I don't like this about that person, but or the way that they talk or the way they do this or whatever, but they still got me to change my mind. And I feel like that's what it's like to be, you know, an adult, like a mature adult, is you look at all this stuff and you, I mean, anyway, I guess it's my paths. That's how I'm like, you know, you look at all this information and you base your worldview on that, on the facts around you, and you kind of keep it open because whenever you crystallize something and it gets hard, that's when mistakes happen. Then you have to start standing behind that belief. You got to defend it. And I'm not saying things aren't worth defending. Obviously, there's times to pick a stand and or times to take a stand and pick a battle. But it reminds me of that meme. I think it was like a Viking. He's like, you got to put some battles back. He's like, you got to pick your battles. And then he's like, put some back. And he's like, no, put more battles back. Just keep putting them back. It's not worth it until you find one that is. And then sometimes you have to go to war over some kind of concept or whatever. But and, you know,
Yeah,
there are times like the beginning of 2020 when people were freaking out and talking. I think that was a good time to get up there and speak your mind and try to stop all this. But now that it's passed, you know, what are you going to do?
exactly. Yeah, I was watching an interview. Have you ever heard the band Queens of the Stone Age?
Yeah.
I really like their singer, man. Like, not just because of his singing and his songwriting. I really like his songwriting, but like, I was watching an interview and he was talking a lot about like, you know, some of the best, you know, like he gets on stage and like a lot of bands like rehearse and like, I mean, I'm sure they do like they know their songs obviously, but like he's like, you know, I came from a he came from like kind of like the punk rock thing where like anything could happen, you know, and like there was fights, you know, that you know like there was just an unpredictability. But he's like sometimes that's the best shows are the ones that you're not sure what's going to come of it, you know, and I feel like that's with life too. Like sometimes like people worry so much about like being prepared for things or you know and the thing about it is it's going to happen. Things happen in life that you're not ready. You're never going to be ready for, you know.
Yeah,
And
we're all gonna die.
yeah, and
Sorry to
so the end
spoil
of
it.
so the end of the world is near for all of us, and if you think about it in that way, but you can't live like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't like let that control every aspect of your life by thinking that it's going to end or whatever. you know, because if everybody did that, you wouldn't live. You wouldn't. You know, but be thankful. Like be thankful while you're here to breathe and to love other people. That's the big that I think that's the big message. Like obviously, I mean, like care for other people. Not be selfish and like the main. I feel like that was the main principle of the law of Moses. Like all that good stuff. But like, I mean, it just makes sense. Like while you're here, why not do why not do good and not and not evil.
Yeah, I feel like that people miss that point. And one of the really important things, and we talk about this on Oversharing a lot, is you really have to have self love. You have to love yourself, and it's not like a selfish thing. And I came up with a way to describe it on an episode. Let me think if I could remember it. It'll come to me, but it's different than selfishness. It's just really about conquering that little voice in the back of your head that tells you when you are, when you're trying to do something. For example, I'm sure you got it. Like when you're going to perform or before a show or whatever, you might hear this voice that's like, "Oh, you're going to mess up. It's going to be terrible. No one's going to love you." Like stuff like that. Same thing when I would start doing comedy, and I feel like if you could be easier on yourself, that's really what self love is about. It's about not being so hard on yourself if you make a mistake, and not treating yourself so bad when you do something, because people will make a mistake like, "I'm an idiot, fuck that." It's all this self-talk, and it even comes out when they're talking to themselves, but a lot of it is internal, this self-talk. And I feel like when this is what I've been doing, this is the work that I've been doing, and I'm not saying like I'm better than anybody, but as I do it and as I progress, because it's taken me a while, things do line up, like I was saying with that concert, right? They just start to line up. And like with the poker, I didn't get mad that I got knocked out of the tournament. I had ace king, and I was like on early position, and I had 14 big blinds left, so I guess I didn't have to go all in. But I just wanted to go all in and take it down, and I just I'll stop talking about poker. But anyway, so I go all in. Some guy had pocket jacks, and the cards came out. There's no ace or king, so he won. I got knocked out. So I could have been mad about it and upset and been like, "Oh, that was so stupid." But I was like, you know what? I took a walk around, smoked a little tobacco, and I was like, usually I don't play cash after a tournament. But I'm like, yeah, I haven't played in a while, and I'm not like irritated or whatever. Because sometimes if I sit for a tournament and play for 4 or 5 hours and then I get knocked out and don't win money, it could be a little irritated sometimes. But I wasn't, so I'm like, let me go play, and then I hit that royal flush. It's fucking crazy. But to bring it back to what you were saying with
No,
with
yeah, that's cool.
loving other people, I was just in the whole thing with the vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Like Jesus told you to love your enemies. You don't have to worry about trying to get back at people or plot or plan. And I'm talking to myself here too, because it happens. These thoughts come up when things happen, but they're going to get theirs. And that's why you should pray for them, because it's going to be probably horrific. So you want to know that if you've gone through things like that in your life, you didn't like it, and for somebody else to go through it, it's not going to be a pleasant experience. So you can have compassion for them, and you know that they're going to learn. I do it where I try to look at people as if they're children. And I know that sounds maybe condescending, but it helps me not get mad at them if someone is like flipping out about something. I'm like, you know what, they're just acting like a child in this moment. because we've all done it. I do it too. We all go to those things where we revert back and we just react, right, to something that happens instead of pausing and putting some space and then acting how we want to. You ever do that where you reacted out of anger and then halfway through you're like, why am I even yelling about this or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, why am I even like, I don't even care anymore. Like, it's so funny. So yeah, self love.
It's especially I think you see that like when you have somebody else like especially somebody that you care about, and then like you get wrapped up in something that does it's nonsensical, and then you get mad at it, and then you like shout at them, and then immediately like you regret that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's even during it. Sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm gonna read from the chat. I'd go to war for a friend whose family could possibly be seriously compromised by some neglectful words spreading beyond the community. Some things need to be abruptly stopped. Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you there, Sherry, and welcome. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I understand. It's so nuanced. I think it's different when you're the person being attacked or if it's your family and stuff, but sometimes people line up behind a content creator and will go to war for him. And that's the thing I like about like either Owen or even Archaics or people like that, because overall their message is positive. They're not doom and gloom in it, and they're also telling their followers to not go react to people. Like don't worry about it. Like you don't have to. They'll get theirs. And even though those two audiences, I think there's a lot of crossover that people just don't admit. Just because the archaic stuff is like so compelling. I mean, maybe it's not right. Maybe he is a douchebag. I don't know. But it does put things together in my mind with other work. Like another person I was listening to recently, who I really love. We should get together on a show with him. All three of us is Dustin from Bushwhacking History. Uh, uh, Berserker Bear. That's it. He kind of has the same thing that we do. He'll go around. He does a lot of great stuff, boots on the ground in Buffalo and the surrounding areas, looking at all these old buildings and starports and stuff like that. And then I was in his chat the other day, and somebody brought over a cake. He's like, "Yeah, that guy. He's a good archivist. He's got some stuff, and he just moved on. He just kept going. He didn't say anything negative or whatever." And he's like, "Everybody has a piece of information. Everybody has their own truth that they're trying to express. It's up to us to use our discernment to go through that and see what makes sense to us. I think that's a much healthier way. And if you don't agree with something, you just turn it off, because people, how like they were banning they still do. Don't you have your Instagram is like banned for now, right? Or something like for things we say. We got mad in 2020 and 2021 and stuff when they were kicking us off platforms for talking about experimental medical serums and covering our smiling faces. We got mad when that was going on. We don't want our message stopped, but yet some people will still go after that, or they feel that way. They wanted the 2020 truth to come out, but then when somebody else is on their platform talking about things, they want them taken down. And I'm sure I'm not talking about like if they're up there, talking shit and telling you to attack people. That's different. But if they're just up there sharing information or whatever, and then people just want them to take that down, they don't like it, so they'll report them and they do all these things. Well, they're basically doing the same thing that people were doing in 2020 when they thought we were spreading misinformation and we were going to kill people because we were telling them not to get experimental medical serum. So if you're going to engage in a behavior, you should also make sure that it's not a behavior that you hate on one angle. And that's the whole thing with self-hate that comes in, because I feel like what happens is people see somebody else doing something, and it's like they're what's the word? They're like mirroring them. They see a behavior. So say if I have a behavior that I do that I'm not exactly proud of, right? And it's like a habit or whatever. If I see somebody else doing that or something similar, I might hate on them and hate on their behavior because I don't want to take a look at my own behavior. So I'm not ready yet, so I'll just project it. That's the word. You project it onto other people. And I feel like that's what was going on. People are getting mad because they're taking out all these videos about shots and masks and all this, and then they want video to be taken down. It's really like you gotta think about that. I'm kind of just like a live and let live kind of person. And I know what you mean though, Sherry, about like if people are out and stuff like that, and telling people to go attack people like that. I think that's where it's, people start calling the police on people for having their houses raided, or when you bring this into that, it's like I feel like they're just people at home who want to affect the world in a way. They want to change the world and make it better. But the first step really is to just make yourself better. It's not trying to get Owen or Archaics or Brandon Bonanza or Quinton. I'm just trying to name people, or Joe Rogan or any of these people. It's not about trying to getting them taken down, because you're doing exactly the same thing that the mainstream is doing when they're trying to take our information down. And Archaics had a really good point because he had all these troll channels. He's at like 150,000 subs now, but when these troll channels started, they had a couple thousand subs, and now they still have a couple thousand, but he has gone from like 10,000 subs to like 150, because those troll channels are just sending people there. Like if you talk shit about somebody, other people are going to be like, all right, I want to know what's going on. So they'll go check that person out. And what if they like that person and they think you're wrong? Then you're going to lose people. So whenever you're like pointing fingers outward, you're really just, there's four fingers pointing back at you. So, and this is a whole new media, this whole YouTube thing. It's like when television first came out, but now everybody has a voice, not only to create, but everybody also has a voice to talk shit about what they hate. And
yeah, dude, I was getting to say something. Like, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like I was thinking that exact same thing. Like, it's funny because now everybody has a voice. It's like back in the day, back in the 80s and even 90s, like people had to pay for radio time. You know what I'm saying? Like people had to do what we're doing. It cost a lot, and like we're doing it for free. And like everybody has a voice now, and it's kind of but I can't really blame Instagram, or I can't really blame these streams, because we are getting a platform to speak our minds, and like they do have their guidelines, and I get that, but like at the same time, if you don't follow those guidelines, you're going to get, and like it's not anything new really. I mean, it's like, but like you look at like you take somebody, dirty, like Howard Stern or something like that. Like he basically had his own, he had his own show, and he can do whatever he wants because he pays to do that, to push that. You know what I mean? So like all you have control of is what you tune into and what you tune out of. You know, you all you have control of over is your your receptive ability. You can turn off a TV. You know what I mean? If you don't like something, like you said, turn it off. Uh, or if you want to tune into something, tune in. But like nobody's taking anything away. Uh, you know, I mean, like it does suck to get banned. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it that doesn't suck, but like I get how like what my opinions, might cause a riffraff or something like that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so I don't blame.
I was just reading the chat. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're cool. I was just reading the chat. You're 100% right though, because if you're looking at other content creators and you're like, look at all these people being led astray, I need to save those people. Right? It's the same thing as Tiki Olam. We're gonna save the world, right? It's the people that are controlling the world that everybody points to. Some of these people, they have this idea that they want to save the world and they're going to help everybody. So you're kind of falling into that same line of thinking as the people that you think that you hate. I'm just talking to random people out there. So what we say is just work on yourself. Focus. How can you learn, or how can you not learn from this of what's going on? You figured out, like I figured out, I navigated this thing. I talk about different people. I'm in different circles. But most of it has to do with because I don't look at a situation and say, how is this affecting me? Like, I'm not like, oh, how is Owen Benjamin's, or how is Archaics, or how is Joe Rogan, or how is Daniele Bolelli? He's another guy that used to listen to, a good dude. How are their shows affecting the world, and how am I going to stop it? It's like, no, no, no. What you're responsible for is you. Like, you do you. You fix you. You become the best version of yourself, and then it doesn't matter what else is going on out there. Then you become an example for other people to look at. So instead of telling people what to do, you're just doing what's right for you. People see it, they see you're having a great life, you're happy. They're like, oh, I want to do what he does. And so then hopefully they'll start to work on themselves. And in this way, maybe you could kind of save the world. But I don't think the world is here to be saved. That God created it is how I look at it. It is a challenge for us to overcome. If we were just here in a paradise world, we wouldn't learn any lessons. We wouldn't grow. We wouldn't do what we're here to do. I think that's for what's next after this life. And when we become energy and we don't have this physical experience anymore, that's what that time's for. It's for just chilling and doing nothing. So maybe we get bored, when we're just in paradise. And we need to come to this realm to work things out and to have a challenge. And that's how I try to look at it. The world is just providing hurdles. Now, if we run into the hurdles and break our leg, instead of jumping over the hurdle, is that the hurdle's fault? You could say that. You could make a case for it, and it might even hold up in court. But I think at the end of the day, which is my favorite saying, at the end of the day, it's really up to you, right? Or not you, but us individually to kind of work on our own stuff. And if we really want to follow the message of Christ, we really want to be children of God, or however you see it, you have to trust God's plan and know that even though you don't like it, this is going to be good for you. It's like when when you're young and your parents are trying to teach you something and you really don't want to do that, you'd rather be playing, but you might need to learn how to go to the bathroom and a toilet, and then you'll be a better person if you do. And later on, you'll thank your parents. Thank you for potty training me, or whatever. But
Right. Well,
same kind of thing.
like I feel like I was watching Owen's stream the other day, and he said something that made sense to me. Like, sometimes, and it's something that nobody really wants to hear, because, like, especially in America, it's like freedom and all that, good stuff. I mean, I love freedom. Freedom is good, but some people have too much freedom. You know what I mean? And it's like, and he was talking about how, like, you're not going to want to hear it, but slavery is the answer. I mean, because some people need. I mean, you see these people, like, especially with the mask and everything. It's like people are crying out to want to be controlled. They want to be controlled, and, like, I don't. I mean, I don't. I mean, I like my freedom and I like to choose, but there's people that can't do that. They can't choose. They need somebody to tell them what to eat and tell them what car to drive and tell them. I mean, some people. I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, I mean, I'm not like against the government in that sense. Like, some people need that, and, like, so, but not. I mean, I love my freedom. I love being able to choose, what music I listen to, and like, you know, you know. I mean, everybody has a choice. You'll never take somebody's choice away. You know what I mean? But, like, some people, like, you get what I'm saying, though. Like, some people, it seems like they really wait. They want to have somebody tell them, like, hey, put on your mask. Hey, go get your booster shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
to be free is too many. It's a lot of responsibility to be free, and you can't just somebody can't just make you free. You have to do it yourself. And all the people who I think most of us are kind of like halfway there. We depend on the system for certain things or whatever, or even roads or whatever it is. But in your mind, though, that's what it is. If you're not dependent on them in your mind, that's when you're truly are not a slave. And to the people who are, we could point to them and call slaves, those people who need to control, who's to say when they're going to wake up out of that? And maybe they'll become the next great content creator. We never know. So that's why it's better, in my estimation, to just focus on our own paths. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing unless they're hurting or affecting you in that way. You can take steps. Obviously, I'm not saying to just sit there and take it. We're not new agey here on the Brandon Bonanza show. Stick up, set boundaries, stuff like that. But internally, don't let it shake you. Be like the deep ocean. All right, well, it's almost 10:30, which means I got to run in a minute or two because I have a meeting a little later, or at 11, but I gotta look a little more presentable for people who are paying money for me to. You guys get the raw Brandon Bonanza in the morning. It's great. But yeah, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. We should do this more often. It's a lot of fun, especially in the mornings like this. We get a really cool crowd. And MS, I just want to give a quick shout out. He's talking about how he was in a store during 2020. I get it. I had some of my own issues with people in stores in 2020. It was a lot of fun. What were you going to say, though? Go ahead. Thanks for coming on. That's where I was.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and also get that guest, man, that you was talking about. Like, we'll do like a three people. You was talking about having somebody else on too.
Yeah, Dustin. I'll talk to him and see if he wants to have a chat about things, and we could just talk about everything else other than certain content creators. We don't have to just focus on famous people. We're going to be famous. We're famous to 8 people right now. Yeah. How many people were in there? We had 7. Okay, 8. Yes. Okay, we're famous to them. It's amazing. Cool. All right. Well, where can people find you if they want to hit you up for a show or something?
I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to. I'm not really doing any shows or anything. Just like I'm recording an album still, and hopefully it'll be out next year. I'm not sure. I mean, I just kind of go with the flow with it. Like, if a song comes to me.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it, right? As far as making music. What's your Instagram handle? I have in the link below to everybody, but you could say it's good.
Yeah, they shut down my other one. My new one's Quinton Ferrell, or I think it's Quinton_Ferrell 1. So.
All right, yeah, I'll check that. I might have the wrong link in there, so I'll get the right one. If anybody wants his Instagram, just comment under this one video, and we will get it to you. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out in the chat too. Joe MS, sharing those crazy stories. I get it. Blue Kachina, Sherry, how are you? Tony, I think I got everybody. All right, awesome. Well, I'm gonna play the theme song, and then we can get the F up out of here. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and stay tuned for future random episodes of the Brandon Bennett. See, that's why you have to subscribe and hit the bell, especially if you want to hang out in the chat, because you never know. Oops. Never quite know when we're going to pop up and go live here on the old Brandon Bonanza. Oh, it's already checked. All right, guys. Oh, man, did I do the wrong thing? I know how to use Zoom, guys. Don't worry. I'm just prolonging our experience. Where's the song? Why isn't it showing it? Bonanza. All right, we're going to have to... Did I close it? Oh, sorry, guys.
They get your pretty faces for a little bit longer.
Lucky you guys. I tell you what. Yeah, I guess I had closed it. All right, here it is. All right, guys. Until we see you again, take care. Listen to this amazing song.